All right. It's a Tuesday, so that must mean I'm talking with Mark Wine.
Yeah,
That's our day, Mark.
that's
How are
right.
you doing today?
Good. Everything's good today.
Awesome.
Still staying in, but we're all good.
Right. And I see we'll talk about your gym behind you there. The one thing I'm thinking about, you have your gym, but people always think about what you do at De La Salle. Well, tell us what's the De La Salle football team doing right now in terms of their what you're guiding them through.
Well, so specifically to strength conditioning and performance, currently right now we have three different programs out for them. One of them is the one that I'm putting out there on social media. It has to do with just kind of more fast twitch development, maintaining movement, being able to move efficiently, working on our power output levels. So things like that. We have other ones where if you have a little bit of weight at home and if you have a little bit more of weight. So it's kind of like you're trying to break it off into some three categories. Currently right now, the overall goal, to be honest with you, is to continue to be able to move. Number one, we want to create high level and efficient movements. We didn't have a great deal of time in the off season before this whole thing happened, but we're still going to kind of try to build on that. Another big point for us right now, besides is from the programming perspective, is trying to maintain muscle hypertrophy, so we don't atrophy. We don't want to kind of get smaller at this time. So we really want to try to kind of keep that. So our principles right now, in terms of the load lifted, things like that, have gone away from those traditional strength protocols, those traditional strength values, and really gone more into the hypertrophy, the time under tension. So things like that really serve well at home. I think sometimes we're right now we live in a 5x5 world sometimes in performance, what's just overly traditional, and I think then we have the other side of the industry that's a little bit more movement. Everything's about, what they consider as functional. So you want to try to be able to marry both sides, and again, this is an opportunity for us to kind of program more specifically, it's more challenging, and also to be smart. So with DLS football, we've been able to kind of curtail that a little bit to kind of what the kids have, as best we can from without seeing it. We really just based it off a poll. The other side that we're doing is really working in on we have a little leadership group that we're talking to. We communicate every week, once a week on Zoom, just like you and I are right now.
Right.
Just to be able to maintain the attitude and the culture that's built around the program, the school. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond just what you do program wise. I think sometimes we think as strength conditioning coaches and performance, it's too easy in this industry to look like an expert. And I think what I mean by that is that too many times we have coaches and performance coaches and strength coaches. We're always into programming. It's all about what you do, exercise this and exercise that. But the reality is it's all about the implementation and how you get the buy-in in the culture that's centered around the athletes, because that's really your commitment level. So we have a great leadership group right now with DLS football that's kind of connecting with all of the players on the team. We've broken down into different groups. We're checking in. We're trying to maintain just some Friday team circuit stuff, and just kind of coordinating that. So that's kind of been our biggest thing right now with football from the performance strength conditioning side. We'll call it the mentality side as well.
Who are the leaders?
We just have a collection of a few six that we feel are strong, that have proven themselves from whether it's from last year into this year. Somebody like I'm not to name all of them, but somebody like a Lou Hearns, who's a solid player, works really, really hard. He's a quiet guy, but he also will speak up. Dorian, he's coming back obviously again, which is a good benefit for us is to have a quarterback that can bounce back and come back like that. And, and Dorian is such a physical presence as well. So guys like that, Puckett, is another guy. So we just have a couple other guys, but again, we just have a solid group and a solid leadership group that's coming back and that's put in some valuable minutes the year before, or so last year. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest benefits. But it goes beyond just the physical side. You know what I mean? It's the physical side is important. I'm not going to say it's not, right? That's part of my job. But I can't stress that on how important it is, the mentality. I mean, that's more important. I always bring up strength. I like to look at strength when you see DLS strength, or whether you're even at my facility here. It's we had an acronym, and part of it was PAAS, and the S was always for strength. And everyone assumes it's the physical side, but I stress to them it's not. It has nothing to do with the physical side. It's all mental. And once you have that strong mind, I mean, the body follows. It's really, really simple after that.
And for you, I think it's always been mental. Is it more mental now? I mean, with the conditions that we're under, it's the same
Um,
probably for you.
I to be honest with you, I just think it's all about capitalizing on your moment, and I think this is a great moment to capitalize on. I even from my perspective, I'm freaking, no, I'm loving this. I know some people are like, "There's no way." How can we love this kind of environment right now? But that, to be honest with you, for me, I think it's a great moment to again flourish, and it's a great opportunity for somebody to kind of get better and go above and beyond.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, I mean, maybe you could say this is a great, more or less this specific moment is, but I think from my perspective, the performance side, it's always been mental.
Right. And then also you mentioned you're still up at 4 in the morning. I mean, for
Hmm.
you, this is, I don't say a dream, but you got all the time in the world. You're doing what, 4 hours on your own?
Yeah. So, be honest with you, it's like I said, I think right now this is a great opportunity for me to catch up on things that if you just physically, I'm always somewhere, so it's hard to get caught up.
Right.
This is a great time for me to get caught up. I'm spending more time at home as well. I'm spending time doing landscaping out in the backyard, which has been definitely needed. So I mean, those are kind of opportunities too that as long as you have the mindset, you can capitalize on that moment as well. So
Right.
again, for me on a personal side, this is, it's a great opportunity. From a coaching side, I actually think this is a great opportunity as well because, again, I think it's too easy to program random. It's so easy just to put out some body weight stuff and be like, here you go, do this, do push-ups, do this, and that's what I see all over the place, especially social media. Burpees and this and that. And I'm not saying you can't have random at times, but a program still needs to be dialed in. It still needs to be specific. You still need to have your phases. You still need to be working on specific things. And if you start losing those goals, and you have no more focus or driven, like this is where we're going, you're just a random trainer who's just throwing stuff out there. And
Right.
so I kind of think for us at De La Salle, especially, and even for me at Functional Muscle Fitness, I think it's hand in hand, with how important that is to not do that, and to really kind of take it above and beyond of what you would expect or what's out there right now.
Yeah. And then I look behind you there, and
Hmm.
actually the governor just spoke, and it's not right away, but they're looking at the things sort of next 2 or 3 weeks, and they're talking about lessening the restraints. You're not
Uh-huh.
24-hour fitness. You're not Nautilus.
Correct.
You have a plan to what six you could operate if given the go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I had a plan before it even got closed down. To be honest, so we are like, again, it's you're always trying to be prepared. So we were already prepared to kind of how we could limit our numbers, but still allow our members to come in here, and stay healthy. I think the thing that, again, I know everybody has different opinions, right? So either way you look at it, I'm right and I'm wrong at the same time. You're gonna have some people who are, can't believe that you're doing certain things, and then you have other people who are like, yeah, I absolutely think that there's certain ways around this. Right. So it's kind of dependent on the individual. It's dependent on that person's mentality. So I think that's a big part of it. But, I've always had a plan in place, of how to reduce our numbers if needed like I said, before this thing even happened. I mean, I think we forget that this has been around since November. This has been known really since November. So, you're looking at something that we've had that's been in the kind of public arena, but it wasn't politicized as hard as it is now, until really January, February. So as soon as I started seeing it politicized and start becoming a political party type thing, I realized immediately that when politics get involved, I think it's going to get even more messy. So I kind of threw out like an immediate thought of like, okay, if this comes, if they start trying to do closures or if they start trying to reduce and a reduction, what would be that plan? So we've had a plan in place. We were going to implement it obviously before what ended up happened. And so if it comes back and it says, all right, reduce your numbers to 10, I mean, we would be fine. We'd be able to continue to serve and have those numbers reduced because we are a specialty type facility. So it's easier for me to manage and organize because we are at a more personal setting. If I had 50,000 pieces of cardio in here, that's obviously a different story, but that's not who we are, right? We're not a mainstream health and fitness facility. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
I joke with, he's going to hate me for this, but I joke with, Coach Brown, and both of our ADs too, and Leo, and we talk about water. If you got fruit water, I always mess with them about fruit water. And I said, that's just not, that's not our kind of facility, right? We're not a fruit water kind of facility. You know, you coming in, it's you're working hard. Every member works hard, whether you're doing boot camp development, athletic performance, speed work, whether you're training for football, it doesn't really matter. You still have to have that mentality. You're going to come in and you're going to work hard at what you're trying to do. You're here to accomplish something, right? You're not here to socialize and just, I mean, obviously it's always a social environment, right? But that's not our goal. We're not hitting or doing curls and talking to the guy next to us and flexing in the mirror. That's not kind of what we're doing, you know?
No, no.
So we have a plan. Yeah, of course we have a plan. Will it be open? Who knows?
Right. No, but no, you'll be ahead of the curve already having the plan. And
Oh
that's,
yeah.
I've been to your facility. It's no frills. Nobody's walking around saying
Yeah.
who's noticing them. No, actually, it goes back to your image, your beard. And the other thing I thought
Yeah.
about on Friday nights, how long have you been wearing the shorts and the shoes with no socks, even when it's 33 degrees? I mean, have you ever put on pants?
Yo, of course, all the time. Sometimes I think, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's again, I think it's great if it's you know, I talk to the kids all the time. Is it cold? Not really. I mean, is it hot? Not really. It really depends. I mean, I drink hot coffee and it's 103 degrees outside. You know what I mean? Like I don't believe in iced coffee. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. I think it softens it up, and I don't need that stuff in, you know, going down. So, but it's the same thing with the pants and the shoes. It's not cold. I mean, it's 33 degrees. It's fine. You know, it makes you work. It makes you continue to work. It makes you, you know, a little bit more fired up. You got to get in it. You got to be able to stay motivated on the sideline. I mean, I don't have a big job on the sideline. Let's be honest. I mean, you know, I'm not a position coach. I'm not worried about, you know, kind of more or less the coaching details of the end game. My job is preparing them for the game. But I believe that the mentality that they have throughout the game, that's a big part of what I need to do while I'm out there and on the sideline. So I think it's just kind of a part of it.
Yeah. Well, also, one thing that is sort of pre-described, you're the guy at halftime. Has that always been the case, talking to them?
You know what? I don't know when that started. I don't think I did the first year, but maybe the second year. I think that's kind of where it got started. Yeah, but I mean, halftime, you got to warm them up. I think, you know, it's important to kind of be re-prepared and re-dialed in. I think some of the challenges for me with football is well, what's the score at halftime? You know, and it doesn't matter. I think at the end of the day, every minute is valuable. Every player is equally as valuable. You know, whether you're starting or not, you know, at the end of the day, the non-starters get the starters prepared, right? So I think at that moment, like everybody matters, right? So everybody's equally as important. So I think we need to be able to prepare them and motivate them just as much as we do anybody else. Because, like I said, everybody everybody is just as important as the next guy. And I know that's hard sometimes because you see people in the limelight, but like, you know, you got to hold them to a high standard. You got to hold the next guy to a high standard. If somebody slacks off and they're a starter, who cares, right? I mean, everybody has to be held to that same standard, and they have to have that same level of work ethic.
Well,
And the mentality, right?
that's often the message. You're telling, you know, it might be 30-0 at halftime, and you're telling the guys that are going into the game, not a point is to be scored. You know, they're there to play exactly. They're to play like the guys, like the starters. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's an opportunity for them to capitalize. And to be honest with you, it's an opportunity for them to capitalize and win. You know, and earn respect and earn those earn those valuable minutes of, if you want to call it that. But like I said, every minute counts. Every minute matters, and everybody should be competing. At the end of the day, you work all the way through summer. You start in January. You work all the way through the year. Like, it's an 11-month-a-year team. I mean, you have to be disciplined. You have to be committed. And as long as you're disciplined and committed, you deserve, you don't deserve. You earned your opportunity to kind of showcase and put that. Because again, you want to play in a game, right? You just don't want to practice. I mean, you that's that competitive spirit that you have to have. So you have to earn those minutes. And I think a lot of these guys on this team, they earn these minutes. You know, so I think they need to realize it's just as important and capitalize. Whether you're in or out of the game, it doesn't matter. Everybody matters. Everybody's important. Can you imagine a sideline if you go out in the first quarter and there's not one player on the sideline who makes any noise?
Right. No.
Right.
No.
I mean, you got to be dialed in no matter what.
Absolutely. And that's also what you're doing on the sidelines. I mean, you're going up and down, seeing things. I mean, yeah, no, it's very powerful. Well, I just thought of something. the NBA put out something, whenever they decide to do something, it says it's going to take them a month because everyone's out of shape. How long will it, which is ridiculous. How long is it going to take De La Salle's, once De La Salle comes back, will they already be in shape? Will they be ready to go?
I mean, ideally, you obviously need time with resistance, and you want other time like that. But at the end of the day, if you're committed, you should be able to bounce back because you're doing things. Now at a professional level, these NBA guys, ultimately, they have the means to, so they should be training right now. All should be in shape. They should all be practicing now. Game shape and practice is different, so you do want to take a couple of weeks to build yourself back up. So that way you get back into that game competitive shape. It is a different type, but for us at like football wise, we should be able to get back, start training again, kind of and get right. But it does take time to come together as a team. So you do want to rebuild that chemistry of being side by side with with your teammate. So I think it is an important part. But I mean, is it going to take a month? Is it going to take? I mean, it depends on the individual. If the individual comes back and is in peak pinnacle shape, they could be able to bounce back rather quickly. If they're being lazy and not capitalizing on this time, then they're gonna struggle. And I think that would be an opportunity when you see that when those players come back, you'll really know who's committed.
Right.
So I think this is an opportunity. You can either be at the top when you get back, or you can be at the bottom.
Right. Or you could go from being a starter to a backup and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
During a pandemic.
If you're on the fence between starting and not, and you're not doing anything right now, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
There you go.
So I think, again, at the end of the day, if the circumstances are beating you, that's your fault.
And the other thing I was thinking, I lost my train of thought. Oh, just say maybe somebody, an athlete in another sport or a student or just somebody watching this, what is something they can be doing at home, that you could tell them right now?
I mean, each sport's a little different, but I think from a general perspective, I think doing burst work like speed work, plyometrics, things like that are vital during this time. I think sometimes I get into the whole, it's easy to do air squats for a minute and burpee jumps and all these other exercises that are, or these cute exercises that they consider functional these days. But, you still need to be able to do that power speed work because that twitch will help bounce you back. If you're not doing any of those, the hamstring work and that fast twitch power work, you're going to come out and you come back in your first week and you start sprinting, you're probably going to pull something. So I think those kinds of the plyometrics and the short burst work, quick change of direction, footwork is important to keep. As far as the body weight goes, I think, looking at things as to, like I try to tell people, time under tension when you don't have external resistance. So it's basically, doing a Bulgarian squat for 60 seconds each side versus saying you're going to do a Bulgarian squat 10 reps. Well, if I was used to doing a Bulgarian squat at 10 reps with, a barbell and 45s on my back, and then I go to do 10 reps with body weight, it's not going to do anything for me. So you have to figure out ways to manipulate the variables to make it effective still. So that's where, you separate the strength and conditioning performance coach side of the guy that's just there to throw exercises out, or the individual that really understands the concepts, the body, things like that. So, but again, if I'm an athlete at home, I'm doing fast twitch work, speed work, acceleration work, footwork, plyometrics, which is the jumping side. And then I'm going to be doing more or less the, some like longer resistance training, which is I can coin as time under tension.
Right. I'm trying to think. I have some more questions, but I think the longer it goes on, the people I think will watch like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So it gets too long, right?
Exactly. No, it's not too long. It's just people don't have the attention span. They want to watch the Tiger King or something. We're better than the Tiger. By watching this. So what I think we'll do is we'll backload it. We'll save some of the questions for next time.
All right,
is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think, again, my biggest thing is to continue to capitalize on the moment that you have and understand that the circumstance is not that severe for you at this moment. I mean, some people, obviously the circumstance is dire, but most of the people watching this, it's not. So just because you're at home doesn't mean you have to sit back and do nothing. So I think right now is a good opportunity to capitalize and continue to grow as an individual, as a person, and as an athlete.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I'll stop it, and then I'll talk a little to you a little off the air here. This is wonderful.
All right, sounds good, Brian.